So just to make clear, because I think that this is one aspect that we struggle with our publisher clients. People think, I know what my first-party data is, and I'm pretty sure that I have it under control. Are we sure? So just give a glimpse. What we're talking about here, it's a lot of stuff that I'm sure you don't have all in a very nice and neat place together, unless you're a star client. So let's start from, of course, you have some CRM system if some people are paying subscription. You have online site registration files. You have ad effectiveness studies. You have campaign interaction from your ad server. If you sell or you support partners that sell on your site, normally you have also information about transaction. You put surveys about how the experience of the site, what the people are interested in onto your properties. You have analytics giving you information. You have subscriber data again from other properties that are cross-selling. Now we have a lot of mobile data, a mobile app. Of course, search, natural results, and paid campaigns, and also increasingly more and more social sharing and social consumption. So this is all first-party data. That's a lot. And normally sits in, shall we say, 5 or 6 different teams, if you're lucky. And often it sits with your search marketing agency or with your e-commerce fulfillment partner. And we can go on and on. You can go for the nightmare scenario where you have 17 different repositories, half of them sitting outside your organization. But the big important thing is that, number one, maybe you have more first-party data that you ever thought of. Good news. Other good news is, normally, if you've done your contacts well with your agency or your partners, you own this data. Very good news. The challenge is actually that it's sitting everywhere. I need to get a handle on how to manage this. And we're going to have a look at how publishers are doing this. So hopefully I'm making the case that you thought you had a handle of this. The good news is much more than possibly you thought of, and that's good news. The challenge is how to manage it, but I think it's getting slightly easier as we see on the marketplace. The good news is that when we talk, and we talk with a lot of publishers every year in Europe and Asia and in the US, and they told us several times that when they start to look at this, DAISY chart and try to pull the data together, they came up with this verb over and over. When we start to look at this data holistically or try to merge some of the buckets, they reveal things to us that we didn't know before about how people were engaging and using our content, sharing it, where they're coming from, and so on and so forth. So reveal is constantly a word that comes up when we talk about the benefits of using an holistic view of first-party data. Really revealing the persons that are behind the content. Content is still very important, but you have really the opportunity to see and understand who are these people on your properties. And that is the golden key that is associated with the golden value of the first-party data that opens a lot of business benefits. If they can use this data to reveal who are these people, what they're doing, really what their passions are, it's not just transactions, but it's really a personal picture, you can unlock a lot of benefits. They're not just about better targeting. That's one very easy way and immediate benefit that a lot of our publishers tell us they get from a more strategic approach to the first-party data. This data set can have profound impacts on how you run your whole business. A lot of publishers are seeing huge benefits in traffic acquisition because you will be much smarter and be able to acquire the part of the traffic that actually is going to generate better revenues for you. And you have that information. Or also you're going to be able to acquire traffic cheaper because you know better where to find it. Also, you're going to be able to support sales packages much better. Your traditional sales organization, very expensive, that goes around selling your properties, can have a much richer layer of data about why actually this property is very relevant for what you're trying to do. And again, we see an organization really customizing pitches, stopping actually having a standard pitch and actually mining the data, having a pitch engine that actually customizes all the properties that are there for a specific situation with a potential client. And finally, and this is more delicate, but increasingly where the sophistication comes, is I actually use the data to inform my editorial strategy. This is a huge change. I don't know if anybody here in the room is some editorial background, but you can imagine a discussion with an editor of a newsroom, say, look, the data says that these topics are not relevant. People don't react to that while this topic is trending. This is a very hard conversation to have, but increasingly we see smart publishers having the appetite for not using only data, but using also data to inform the product basically that they're selling. And that's really the last step. So while you might think that first-party data, of course, can improve your targeting and how you optimize your ads, for sure that's the low-hanging fruit, but the implications are actually across the whole business model. For example, let's have a quote from somebody that is doing it. This is a holding company in the US, Macedo Ventures. They have a lot of vertical interest publishing brands, both traditional with online. And they use first-party data basically to do basically everything. They inform their sales strategy. They have a big e-commerce initiative. They use that a lot. And also they inform a lot of their content strategy. So that's a smart vertical interest publisher in the US that is doing very well with this. You can say, oh no, I'm a generalist property. It's more difficult for me. True, but if you really have the appetite to look at the whole daisy that we've seen of data, you can really take this pretty far. So for me, indeed, this is the new gold. And think about it. You as a publisher own the data. You're the only one that has access to this data. I would not recommend you even consider selling or syndicating this data.